It will be 17 times worse than the dot-com crash by upper echelon. Here we go.
This video is brought to you by Clean My Mac. Stick around to hear more about the special offer they're providing to the entire upper echelon community. The current AI bubble, so to speak, that we're experiencing right now is 17 times larger than the dot-com crash of the 19.
I know there's some real circular investments going on where you have big company gives other big company huge sums of money, or a promise of huge sums of money, promises a big contribution here, and they promise a big contribution here, and that promises it back, and you got a circle, and then all of a sudden, because they've all promised each other so much money, their valuations go way up, and then so they promised each other more money, and then the evaluations go. They promise each other more money, and the valuation higher. I think there's kind of been a sobering moment where they've cut back a lot of the just rampant paper investment that they were doing to something more realistic, which is still like it's still crazy, but I don't think you've seen the devaluation
90s.
yet.
It's 4 times larger than the subprime mortgage crisis in 2008, which
Ooh, like, let's just be honest. There is an AI bubble. It is going to pop. And from that, you will find the giant. The ones that survive will become the giants that dictate the next step for humanity, the next direction of humanity in the AI age, until we find the next thing that bubbles. We just keep doing it.
contributed to it.
Right now, the AI bubble gives you basically AI for free. Very good. It makes charts now. I like it. I like that step up. I get that for free because of the AI bubble. I will be sad when that goes away and I have to pay for it.
Once the UK...
Oh, I've gotten the wrong video.
A global Great Recession, and if what these companies are doing is allowed to continue when the music stops and the money goes dry, it will threaten the economic stability of half the planet. My source for that, by the way, is an analyst named Julian Guerin, referencing the work of early 19th century economist Knut Wicksell.
Wait. He's saying that when the bubble pops, half the planet...
companies are doing is allowed to continue when the music stops and the money goes dry, it will threaten the economic stability of half the planet. My source for that, by the way, is an analyst named Julian Guerin, referencing the work of early 19th century economist Knut Wicksell, who pioneered a theory about the misallocation of capital. But this isn't supposed to be an episode about economic history, don't worry, because the practical demonstration that I want to focus on right now is what certain companies are actually doing at the moment, and how that behavior is a lockstep replica of what's now occurred 3 separate times across the past 3 decades, each time wiping out the savings of everyday people who typically don't even fully understand why or how it ended up happening to them at all.
Like, definitely some people will not be positioned well.
Let me start with this, all right? Allbirds. Allbirds is a shoe company, a failing shoe company for that matter. Initially going public shortly after COVID, the pandemic, with a stock price of well over $500 at the time, it has since dropped by nearly 99% in a state of pretty much free fall. The business has only ever lost money, wasted almost $500 million on aggressive retail expansion or new product lines, and yet instead of simply going bankrupt like a regular company, Allbirds decided to make one last final desperate attempt at fleecing their investors by suddenly rebranding themselves under the direction of new management, it seems, as an AI infrastructure play. These two things have nothing to do with each other. A shoe company is effectively grabbing the change from under the couch cushions and pretending that this somehow gives them the option of competing with Amazon, but no matter how ridiculous the decision itself might seem to be, the reaction it received from the public is even worse. After this ridiculous
Do I just have to make like an AI company? Like, Just something dumb. Put AI on it.
Brand that has nothing to do with the core business, by the way. After the rebrand, the share price for Allbirds, the stock price, increased by almost 1,000%.
That's
People were practically
wild.
begging to throw their money away, and not because of actual potential, not because of revolutionary technology,
Like, it's not
but
gonna.
because a shoe company
There is so much stupid money. There's so much stupid money. It just is.
said, now we're an AI technology firm. It doesn't really get any more ridiculous than that. Sadly, Allbirds wasn't even alone in this. Shortly after they demonstrated how easy it was and is, another company called Mycium did the exact same thing.
I mean, to be fair, look at what happened. Like, you do it, you get the spike, and then it's on a slow decline. Like, this almost has the pattern of pump and dump Bitcoin. Like, you buy up all the stock here, you change it to AI, be like, oh yeah, we're changing it to an AI firm, and then you sell up here in this range. Even if you're selling here, like, it's still incredible profit, right? So this is just someone using a dying business to make their money by the AI hype, because this is just going to keep going down until it's back here now. Business not fixed, it doesn't do anything.
Another company called Mycium did the exact same thing. This time,
same
at
thing.
least they already operated in the world of social media, but renaming your company Mycium AI doesn't actually change anything, and yet, simply because of this new name, the stock price rose by almost 400.
Okay. Elevation AI. Ooh. I like the sounds of that. I do use AI. Will that trend more? Will that be better?
Percent. Here's the problem. Not only is the AI bubble itself grossly larger than any prior financial bubble in human history, it's also now demonstrating the exact same red flags, the exact same corporate greed, and the precise atmosphere that we've seen multiple times in past decades. So much so that by the end of the video, if I haven't managed to convince you that AI is an unignorable Titanic level economic iceberg,
It is. And yet, when the bubble pops, there will be a new Google. Assuming Google doesn't win. That is. Like, your titans will survive the bubble popping, and they will become so much bigger, and they will get so much more power. Like, as much as you can tell people it's a bubble, explain to people that it's a bubble, in the end they think they're betting on the winner, and it's a good bet. Like, if you do get the winner, then just statistically, if you'd gotten into Google even before like the .com bubble popped, it was still a good bet. It was still a good investment because of what happened afterward. Now, most people, I don't know who's going to win the AI race. I don't know if anyone knows who's going to win the AI. If artificial general intelligence exists, then it's whoever gets there first. But so far, models seem to be incredibly easy to copy, or to train your model off of a better model is significantly cheaper than building your own model. So I don't know how that leads into someone winning, but there's also going to be a lot of losing when the bubble pops. The whole economy is going to lose. A lot of the people in it are going to lose. But some will win. People think they're the one that's going to win. So I don't think you can stop it. We're just waiting for the pop event.
I want you to actively press dislike.
And then I will miss my free AI.
Tech trends, at least lately, feel like they're happening at the speed of light. The newest AI models, the latest device technology, whatever it happens to be, the pacing gets faster and faster. Except for most people, that sort of frantic pacing doesn't actually carry over to their personal computer or their Mac. A lot of people out there, probably the majority now that I think about it, work with older hardware. I'm one of those people as well, by the way. And when you're in that type of situation, you can't be worrying about performance issues or storage problems. Do not rush to throw something away, especially a Mac or a PC, just because it isn't keeping up with you and your standards. Honestly, this runs contrary to the whole consumerism culture. It's all about throwing away the old stuff and getting the new flashy thing, but do not do that, because for anyone who's looking to remedy the problem of speed, efficiency, and storage, today's video sponsor, Clean My Mac, is here to help.
Oh.
Clean My Mac quietly clears junk.
I bet you there's a lot of people that have this problem. Like, this product is created for a certain type of person. I ran into the whole data hard drive complete collapse, and all of a sudden you lose all of it, all of the data. And now I got multiple hard drives that run. I don't remember which RAID it is, but just two hard drives that are data is mirrored on each other, so that I never have that issue again. I had figured that out a couple of years ago. But that's more data storage. This, some people use their computers. They don't know how to keep them clean and updated and running quickly. So I imagine
It kills background process resource hogs. It frees up space so you can download larger files or video games seamlessly. And it does all of this so that you can use your device without constantly having to babysit it. Yes, you can clean things yourself, which takes a lot of time, but the diagnostic map tools called Space Lens can do it far better, showcasing the sort of invisible.
This is the other thing. Like, there's a new series of AIs coming out that are like computer assistants. And I'm not sure how I feel about this new generation. I like limited AI. I'm not
weight
sure I'm
that
in
programs
for that.
have, and helping speed up, clean out, and rehab your system to its maximum performance level. There's a whole bunch more features as well, such as the cloud cleanup function, which can be linked.
But that's what they say, right? Like, soon computers will be. I mean, AI is going to be able to do pretty much what a person can do with a computer.
Your existing accounts, but for right now, if you want to get started today and tidy up your system with a substantial discount in the process, you can use the link down below and try 7 days for free using code UPPER for 20% off. Again, link down below is 7 days free and code UPPER for 20% off to check out Clean My Mac today and bring your Mac back up to the standard it should be at. Big thank you to Clean My Mac for sponsoring the channel. Okay, back to it. Allbirds rebrands and rises by 1,000%. Mycium follows suit and rises by 400%. But what if I told you that this isn't some sort of novel concept? It's not a brand new thing.
No,
all the way back in 2018 during the blockchain craze.
Like I said, there's a whole industry of meme coin that do this, and they're using these businesses essentially like you would use a meme coin.
This time, the SEC was actually pretty clear about how the process should be treated. Speaking in Washington, D.C., then Chairman Jay Clayton, in a speech, said, quote, "Before I move on to the next topic, I want to raise one more narrow distributed ledger or blockchain-related legal issue by means of a hypothetical. I doubt anyone in this audience thinks it would be acceptable for a public company with no meaningful track record in pursuing the commercialization of distributed ledger or blockchain technology to 1. Start to dabble in blockchain activities, 2. Change its name to something like Blockchains R Us, and 3. Immediately offer securities without providing adequate disclosure to Main Street investors about those changes and the risks involved." End quote.
Bro, our shoe company's going under. You know what to do. We shall call it Shoe AI. And make all the money. before completely abandoning it.
Honestly, that's very reasonable. That makes complete sense. Seeing a
And
trend.
like, it worked. It worked twice. They just they just went, yeah, we now deal with AI, and then they got a bunch of money. I don't understand it.
And renaming your entire company with no realistic expectation of ever succeeding in that new space, simply to then become an investment vehicle under that new banner and run away with tens of millions of dollars in investor capital, isn't exactly a healthy free market technique. And yet, at the risk of over politicizing the video, the current United States governing agencies do not seem to care about white collar crime
No,
anymore.
they don't.
Let's go back in time, because to
They
understand
they
the
basically allow white collar crime.
present, you have to understand the past. How many people have ever heard of a company called Long Island Iced Tea? Anyone? Maybe yes, maybe
I
no.
mean,
But
maybe you gotta like give some money to one of Donald Trump's children so that they can be like a partial investor, or so they can just like be on the board and like talk to Trump for you, but no problems occur. But pretty much you can just get away with it
even if
now.
you haven't heard of it, back in 2017, shortly after receiving a NASDAQ
It's not a
delisting
good
notice,
thing.
because
It's
they were a
not a good.
failing company even then, this beverage manufacturer decided, let's become a crypto company. Except they had no
Ooh.
actual intention of becoming a crypto company. Just like Allbirds, the shoe company, they pledged some money, changed their name. Instead of Long Island Iced Tea, they were now Long Blockchain, and the share price rose by like 300%. You can see it right here with the massive volume spike. Of course, that's not all they wanted to do. Immediately after they spiked the share price with nothing but a name change, they did a 1.6 million share common stock sale, thereby raising a whole bunch of money, like I think $8 million plus, from unsuspecting retail investors, which had basically nothing to do with the company itself, because they eventually were delisted from the NASDAQ, and then they got hit by a subpoena from the SEC. So, just well done, guys.
So it didn't go well for them.
Total and complete failure on that one. Long story short, the beverage company that decided let's pretend to be a blockchain crypto company unceremoniously failed, as if that's even surprising.
Yeah, but did they get to make their money and take their money out? Like, if they got to make their money and take the money out, then it's going to happen again. And given that's happening again, I'm going to say that they're probably successful in extracting value from the dead company.
But to really drive the point home fully, they weren't even the only drink company back then to do this. A Chinese firm called Sky People Fruit Juice suddenly renamed itself as a financial technology company, and purely because of rampant, wild, unhinged speculation, the stock price went up like 200%. Because what if it's about Bitcoin? The story is actually pretty simple when you start to look at things with a historical lens. Right now, 2026, companies are simply rebranding with no credible business infrastructure or foundation supporting them, and seeing ridiculous valuations because of that. Back in 2017, same exact thing. Drink companies at the time saying, oh my god, blockchain, and spiking 2, 3, 400% in their share price. But even further back, as in the early 2000s during the dot-com crash, the same precise thing was happening, this time leaving a veritable graveyard of names, because most of these companies could not justify their valuations. In the dot-com situation, there were hundreds.
Like, I don't think producing a long, viable company is the goal. The goal is to spike the stock price, take your payout, and then just let the company die. And in that, these seem to be quite successful. Take a dying company, put AI in its name, spike the price, take your payout, then the company dies. It was dying anyway, right? So it was cheap. And look at the peak gains. That one is insane. Peak price. Okay.
Hundreds of companies doing this all at the same time. A post-mortem of the crash found that simply adding .com to the name of a company created, on average, a 74% stock appreciation, like stock rise, for no other reason aside from internet big money go up, aka just totally delusional hype. Remember, the AI
And the AI hype is bigger.
bubble, okay, and it is a bubble that we're experiencing right now, as per the Wixel spread of misallocated capital, is 17 times larger than the dot-com crash, which again had ripple effects across the entire world. And if you then look at the parallel catalyst of how that bubble popped in the first place, it gets even better. The simple version is that the dot-com crash was heavily preceded by infrastructure overinvestment. Companies
We following the exact same playbook for the AI bubble. We following the exact same playbook. Infrastructure overinvestment. It, I hear that OpenAI has cut back the amount of data centers they're going to build. Can you give me more data? Like I hear they significantly cut that back. We're gonna let that.
were racing to build massive fiber optic networks, anticipating that overall traffic online would double every 100 or so days, culminating in a scenario where
I mean, like, you can say what you like, but look at the internet now. I'm sure it's grown bigger than what people expected at the time of the bubble. I can almost guarantee it's bigger now than what people expected at the time of the bubble. They couldn't have imagined, social media companies to become these kinds of giants. And that's like, what's the AI really gonna be? Yeah. I don't care if you spam the chat. As soon as you say that, like, I'm not gonna go there. That's not how you do it. I assume that's just a bot. Got that down over here. Okay.
most of these companies couldn't justify their valuations despite owning a tremendous amount of infrastructure.
Yeah, but like, just imagine we're investing in Google.com. Imagine, or Facebook. When you invested in one of the ones that succeeded. That's what drives a bubble. People will make a lot of money off the AI bubble.
Behind them because they simply weren't making money.
Most will not. I see it like gambling. It's not a good idea to be in the AI bubble. Most people will be hurt when it pops, and I will lose my free AI, which will suck.
The result of that bubble obviously was catastrophe. And if you now draw a comparison between the 1990s dot-com craze and the mid-2020s AI craze, what you see is almost the exact same thing. For starters, the relative consumer interest in large language models is declining. At an enterprise level, as in big businesses,
Wait, what's declining?
is declining. C is almost the exact same thing. For starters, the relative consumer interest in large language models is declining.
I mean, like, I don't see that. Um, the whole, and I'm not sure it's a good thing, but the whole like interpersonal AI element that's coming up, like the AI girlfriend, AI boyfriend, that I see massive untapped demand in that space. Not good, but given how we kind of like gave up on protecting people from gambling, I don't think they're going to be any meaningful regulation. And so I feel there's a massive untapped demand.
At an enterprise level, as in big businesses, it's declining as well because the
Really?
quality and speed of work assisted by language models doesn't necessarily justify the cost. The pilot programs
I
are
mean,
mostly
like,
failing.
yeah, there's definitely bugs that you got to work out through, right? But like for me personally, one thing I use AI for is just thumbnail design for YouTube. Very good at that. You give it images, tell it to design a thumbnail based off the images from your stream. It does a really good job. It does a really good job. Like it's not as good as a person, but it's acceptable, and you could do it in a prompt. And so like that's replacing a job. Um, I'm not in a position where I'd ever hire someone for that, but if I was a larger streamer, that is something that you would hire people to do, thumbnail design, and that job just got replaced. In my opinion, it's close to doing better. So what we see here, like the amount of jobs that are done with computers is enormous, and we're seeing AI get better and better at everything done with computers. So he's taken a far more doomer look at AI, I think. And like when the bubble pops, it's going to be devastating. Devastating for a lot of people. Um, but those that get through it and survive as AI companies are likely to determine the future direction of, and that's a lot of power. There's a
Is
lot
what I'm
of
saying.
power for
But at the
up for
same
stakes.
time, initially reported by Bloomberg, half of all US planned data centers are either delayed or canceled outright.
Oh yeah, this is the exact thing I was looking up here. Yes, there's quite a bit happening on this front. Rundown of key developments. Stargate UK paused. OpenAI has paused plans to roll out a series of data centers across the UK. Texas expansion scrapped. Overall compute spending cut back. Financial pressures behind the decision. OpenAI has never made a profit due to extremely high cost of running its AI platform and limited monetization. Only about 5% of ChatGPT users are paying subscribers. With around 860 million users, the service for free. Short, it's a combination of factors: high energy costs, regulatory hurdles, and the sheer financial strain of scaling AI infrastructure that are forcing OpenAI to pull back on some of its more ambitious data center plan. So this is the whole promising each other things on paper, and then it doesn't come out in real. Um, are any AI companies profitable on the AI department? Because one of the Going to Gemini because I'm kind of looking for data on Claude here as well, but I don't know how this will do. Because you look at somewhere like Google, and they've got so much capital from search engine, all their other business, advertising business, that they can run a loss a lot longer than another company. And the general playbook is when there's a new thing, like let's look at which one? Taxis? No. Airbnb. Airbnb. You look at Airbnb, the goal is you get market share. Once you find the demand in something like Airbnb, you get market share. You offer a good deal for people to use the service and a good deal for people to provide the service. And so it's a good deal for users, a good deal for the producers. Everyone uses it. They flood in. You get your market share. Then you inshittify. You make it less of a good deal to use, less of a good deal for the producers. But where are you going to go? You can't go anywhere else. We are the market now. We can do what we want, and you then shitify until you can make your money. That is the goal. And so this is what I assume is happening in AI right now. They're trying to get market share. They're trying to provide you a good service, and not, you don't have to pay for it. Good deal for you. The issue, in my opinion, is that an AI model is very easy to train off another AI model. So you make progress to get all your market share, and then your competitor makes that much progress as well because they just train their model off your model. And so that kind of prevents a monopoly from showing up. And that's how it's been happening so far. And I don't know how you get the market share in that case. As of May 2026, the AI industry has reached a shovel versus gold paradox. The companies selling the infrastructure, the shovels, are seeing record-breaking profit. Oh. So if you're selling the infrastructure, you're seeing a lot of profit. While the companies building the models are generally still operating at a significant loss despite massive revenue growth. But this is the thing, there is massive revenue growth in some of them. Here's a breakdown of who's actually turning a profit. The shovel sellers, Nvidia, I mean, of course they're making profit. TSMC, yep. A semiconductor company. Cloud providers. Microsoft, Google, Amazon. And billions on R&D. Their cloud AI services have become massive profit engines. Microsoft recently reported that AI contributed 16 points to Azur's overall growth. The cloud providers are seeing profits. The cash burners, OpenAI, Anthropic, similar to OpenAI. Probably that's massive. Okay, so places like this are actually burning money. But there are people making a lot of money. The vertical quiet winners, a new tier of profitable AI companies emerging in late 2025 and early 2026. These are companies that don't build the models but integrate them into specific high-value industries. Palantir, frequently cited as one of the few software-first AI companies that is consistently profitable, driven by its AIP artificial intelligence platform used by governments and defense sectors. Oh. Something tells me I should look in to what they're doing. Add that to the list. We talked about the Britain election. Move that one. Alberta separatism we also covered. Well, that one did well, so we're going to leave it down here. Something I'll come back to, depending on what. Okay, Plantier. Okay, specialized SaaS companies like Astra Labs, connectivity for AI data centers, and Dell, AI optimized servers, have seen explosive earnings growth, while Astra Labs on pace for nearly $3 per share profits 2026. Summary table. Bottom line, if you define an AI department as the team building the brain, the model, almost no one is profitable. If you define it as a team building the body, the servers, chips, and cloud hostings, they are currently some of the most profitable businesses in history. That's because of what they think the brain is going to be able to do. Well, I mean, I don't know about getting into we see the profits here, the servers, the chips, and cloud hosting. But the actual model is not. But you've seen it in Anthropic has had let me look. Anthropic. Because like I think they've seen explosive growth. Annualized revenue 100 million, 1 billion, 9 billion, 30 estimate. Oh, well, let's go with what we know. They 10x'd, they almost 10x. They lost. They lost about 2 billion. They lost about 5 billion, and they lost about 11 billion. Their expenses are growing faster than their profit. Well, not faster, but like their profits are 10xing, and their costs are slightly more than doubling. Claude Code and Enterprise Co-work tools, launch of Claude 3 family. So if their losses are just slightly more than doubling, your profits are 10xing, then they're estimated to be profitable in 2026. I mean, there's definitely potential invested into the brain too.
Because of power restrictions, component shortages, and financial drawbacks, which is eerily similar in terms of overhyped infrastructure when compared to the dot-com bust. It's not precisely identical necessarily, there are some differences. A lot of these AI companies who are engaging in what's called circular finance as they invest in each other around and around like a pinwheel, or maybe a better analogy would be a snake eating its own tail. A lot of these companies do have some sort of revenue somewhere, but the scraps that they earn pale in comparison to their spending, because the goal isn't to make a sustainable business. The goal is to get the valuation astronomically high, execute a public offering in some cases, and then everybody on
Like that's what they're talking about with the what is it? Chat GPT IPO.
the inside.
What AI company was looking at going public? I think it was ChatGPT. Okay, the IPO for market for AI companies has shifted. The big two. So OpenAI and Anthropic. Often describes OpenAI as most direct rival. Anthropic is also targeting a late 2026 IPO. Their private valuation recently hit 380 billion following a massive 30 billion funding run in February 26. So OpenAI, so ChatGPT, and Anthropic, which is Claude, are both looking at going public. Like I heard a lot of stuff like the valuations of these companies are so high that going public would cause problem throughout the entire market. Targeting a valuation near 1 trillion. Is that it? We should make it the largest IPO in history. Something told me they were going bigger. I guess 1 trillion is a lot of money.
Gets rich. It doesn't really matter what happens to the bubble afterward, as long as you cash out before it pops at the expense.
Would an AI company going public have effects on the rest of the stock market? What about would those effects be? Okay. I want to re-listen to what he just said.
Everybody on the inside gets rich. It doesn't really matter what happens to the bubble afterward, as long as you cash out before it pops.
That's not it either. Like one, cashing out before the bubble pops. Yeah, a lot of investors will do that. But another thing is making the right bet will be profitable over time. Even now, if you find the Google of the .com bubble, you will make a lot of money. Even if the bubble collapses, it contracts significantly, you can still make a lot of money because Google exploded afterward. And look at the company now, right? So if you find the right company, and as I said, you're looking at 2 IPOs. Maybe they're the right company, maybe they're not. I imagine one of the AI companies is going to make a lot of money. I don't know which one it is. Maybe that one doesn't even go public. Okay, off topic.
At the expense of regular people. So basically, everybody on the inside gets rich and everybody on the outside loses everything. Look at this, okay? Just look at this. The former CTO of OpenAI, Mira Murati, leaves, starts her own company. Okay, cool, good for her. And that company receives a $10 billion initial valuation immediately after $2 billion in seed funding, led, overall catalyzed by major technology firms. And this happened while the company had no product, okay? But not only that, The company wouldn't even disclose what its own purpose was.
That's wild. Yeah, that's wild. Largest seed round ever at 10 billion pre-investment valuation. Top Silicon Valley. I mean, like, maybe she was that good
Think about
at
this.
her job.
Investors were breaking records, throwing never before seen amounts of money at a company that was actively refusing to tell them what the fuck it even was, simply because
That
of
sounds dumb.
AI
That
hype.
sounds dumb.
That is insane and delusional. Ultimately, it's the same sort of accounting tricks, the same valuation schemes, the same hype-driven irrationality, and the execution of a well-known, well-established pattern, because economic hype cycles, for some unexplainable reason, seem to exist outside the world of collective logic. Back when I talked about how crypto was a massive, unsustainable bubble, I literally got hate mail for saying that. Flash forward to now, and practically every...
Like, it is a bubble. It is a bubble that is going to pop, but some people will get rich from it, and some people will lose everything. Fact is, there will be a lot more losers than winners, but people think they're winners, and so the bubble persists. They continue to persist, and they will always persist, and after the AI bubble, we will find something else to bubble. How it works.
Every single crypto project has categorically failed. The capital wipeout is best measured in the trillions, and yet even with a more precise historical example, that being Long Island Iced Tea, which rebranded, sold more stock, and then got delisted and subpoenaed, people are lining up behind a shoe company, spiking the valuation by 1,000%.
Like, that can't be people, right? A shoe company puts AI on their thing, and that's just someone looking at names, being like, "Oh, AI name, can invest a little here to cover our bases." You know, the AI shoe company.
And throwing their money on a burn heap because the words artificial intelligence were involved. Earlier, I said that if I failed to convince you that AI is a Titanic-level iceberg, you should dislike the video, but let me clarify that. It shouldn't matter whether or not you think that AI might, in some future version of reality, become a societally shaping construct.
It already is. Like, what most people don't realize is what we can currently do with AI is terrifying. The current iteration of it. Where's the best place to find the X? Okay. How do we find it? Factories with headsets. Maybe. This looks like it. I remember seeing a clip, and it was a bunch of people here.
लाइन में एक कैमरा सब आदमी लगाया है स्पॉट लाइन में, ठीक है, सब आदमी लगाया है कैमरा, इसमें मिनट उनट सब चालू.
They're training an AI, a robot, to do their job. This is what we can currently do. You need data, train the robot. With our current iteration of it, they're acquiring data. There's a lag between what we can currently do and you seeing what we can currently do in society, because you need the collection of data. And this is what they're doing, like training robots to do this exact job. You give this 5 years, none of these people. robot will do all of this. Oh, we got someone talking. Sorry, I do not speak that language. Thanks for checking out the chat stream.
है ठीक है सब भाई लगाया है कैमरा ठीक है ये है ना ये लगाया है कैमरा ठीक है कैमरा मुड़ी में स्पॉटलाइट में लगा हुआ है कैमरा अब ये कैमरा सब
This is where they currently are. Factory workers in India wear head-mounted cameras so that AI can observe exactly how humans perform physical labor. Every hand movement, every adjustment, every movement. Workers are training their own replacements in real time on the job site, and need to do. Like, if we can train a robot to do this, what can't we train a robot to? The current robot. Current iteration. They're only going to get better. Like, they talk about funding cuts and cutting back compute, but this is still the worst version of AI we'll ever see, and they're already planning on using this worst version to replace a significant amount of physical. What's that other one? The robot that works in your house. What's the name of it? The new general person humanoids Neo.
My name is Bernd, and today we're launching Neo, our humanoid for the
I gotta watch the whole thing.
With Neo's autonomy, you can get access to all of its latest AI features to get help with tasks on demand. In the Neo app,
So, from my understanding, this is not an AI robot. This is a person controlling a robot so that they can get data so that the robot can do it itself. So they're just like you saw the factory workers being recorded training. They're training for Neo. They have people doing the physical controlling while everything is recorded so that hopefully Neo can do it itself. And if you have enough data, the technology is already there. The issue is the acquisition of data. What they're trying to do with Neo. Was there another one? Figure 03. This is going to happen sooner than you think. And it's terrifying, but like, this is going to be the future. Fully autonomous. I mean, do they got people behind them? Saying it's fully autonomous. Tell Optim. Like, how long until something like this makes all factory work? Like, not great, but all you need to improve this with current technology is data. You need them up, you need them running, you need them learning. They collectively gather data, they collectively learn. This is advancing at an extreme pace. I think within 5 years, these replace pretty much all factory. And given how they're also replacing work with computers, like, what jobs does that leave left? I think the AI revolution is happening far quicker than most people realize. And it's advancing at a pace that is terrifying. Like, you say it's a bubble. If this can do the job of every person, is that really a bubble? I mean, I don't know if all these are real, of course, but we've even seen things out of China, with AI. So, like, I don't know. No, this one does not look real. Could change that. Yeah. I don't think they're at that stage. See, how far has AI and robotics come? When is it going to replace factory labor? All right, let's finish
Right.
this.
Back in the 1990s, people said the internet would be just like that. And it is like that, okay? It is that monumental.
Yeah.
But just because the vision behind the bubble can be accurate 20 or 30 years later, right, doesn't make the bubble itself any less real.
It doesn't change the underlying costs and earnings of a company.
Or damaging. You could be the biggest fan of large language model development on planet Earth and still accurately acknowledge that the amount of wasted capital, the number of companies driving up their valuations in what I would say is a fraudulent manner, on top of the debt spiral that all of it's creating, is an iceberg. And if you hit the iceberg wrong, you sink the ship. My goal here is not to make a universal argument about whether or not any one piece of technology is good or evil, even though I do think the danger and negative downside right now far outweighs the benefits when it comes specifically to AI development. But regardless, my goal isn't to argue in absolutes. My goal is to showcase that the AI craze, right, with big air quotes there, is now the largest financial bubble in human history, with warning signs that perfectly echo prior economic meltdowns, multiple of them. And when the music stops, it will stop eventually, regular people get screwed. Executive...
I mean, like, you say it'll stop, but if they get to here, like, a lot of these are like, this looks like AI generated for sure, but first large-scale physical demonstration of their humanoid robots. Okay, we gotta turn that way down. Like, this one doesn't look AI generated. How do I open up that post itself? I want to see what people are saying. I don't know how to use this well enough. There we go. Okay, Figure 03 production is scaling. 350 plus robots delivered. Production ramp from 1 per day to 1 hour. Demo looks impressive, but the real game is the maintenance, uptime, edge cases, unit economics. I've seen this movie. Tesla will outpace this by tenfold. Humanoid robot rolling off the line every hour is cool, but also feels like the opening scene of a movie where nobody reads the warning label. Yeah. That is okay. Let's finish this before
It's
I get
cash
into
out,
that.
founders walk away with golden parachutes, and billionaires get, like, government bailouts. But little Timmy, with his life savings in a cookie jar, trying to make some extra money by trusting the experts and putting that money in the data center market, he gets screwed. Just because a company puts AI in their name doesn't make it a good investment.
I mean,
That's
that's why you should be doing your own investments. Timmy, don't be trusting other people.
it. If you want to support the channel, check out the links down below. The video sponsor, of course, Clean My Mac, special deals, channel memberships, and
Okay.
more. But I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching. Question everything, and have a nice night.
Ooh, okay, what do we got? We got to finish this. Okay. I really liked that video. I actually disagree with him on some stuff, which, if anything, makes it a more fun video. Because then it makes me talk. He took a very doomer approach to the AI bubble, and like, I think there is a bubble. I think it will pop before they get to the point where they can completely replace labor. And so we will see a significant contraction. I don't know, like, in a bubble most people lose. It's just how it happens. There will be companies that survive the bubble that go on to become your new Google. Google's in the race. Given their capital, they got a decent chance of being able to outlast, if it does take a long time, to get to like a more completed version. Like, it's complicated. I do expect the bubble to pop at some point, and for a lot of people to lose a lot of money. I personally would not recommend investing into this at the moment. Nah. There will also be people that make a lot of money. If you've got a lot of free money, like excess capital, it is possible you make a correct bet, OpenAI or Anthropic, that build the system that basically replaces all humans. And that would be incredibly profitable. And that, in my opinion, is what is fueling the bubble. There's a lot of stupid money going around, but some of the smart money, I think, is on to something. Okay, let's have a look at... No, I wanted the next question. Where did I ask the next? Here we go. How far have we come? Great question. This is one of the most consequential shifts happening in the global economy right now. Here's a breakdown. Because one of the things is just statistically, artificial general intelligence is impossible with the current iteration of AI. But every time I look into it, they've taken another step towards artificial. Like they've made it better, they've made it smarter. Every step they make is a step that I thought was impossible. And so if they're able to do this, which I would consider, like, I would have considered this impossible less than 5 years ago, what are they going to be able to do in 5 years? Can you really say that they're not going to be able to get some kind of AGI when they continue to make models that are better and better and better and can do more and more and more? It's gotten to the point where you can like vibe code things out just mostly through speech. I don't know where this goes, but it's going to change everything, in my opinion. Okay, let's see how far we are right now. How far have we come? Industrial robots are already everywhere. Yep, factories worldwide installed over 500,000 industrial robots in 2024, a historic record that more than doubles installation from a decade ago. It's all about making workers more efficient. They use productive. These are the traditional arm-style machines doing welding, painting, and repetitive assembly. AI is now making robots smarter. Companies and researchers are moving beyond prototypes to deploy humanoid robots in real-world settings. Generative AI marks a shift from rules-based automation to intelligent, self-evolving systems that can adapt rather than just follow rigid programming. Investment is surging. As much as $4.6 billion was invested in humanoid robot development alone in 2025. Companies like Mind Robotics, spun off of Rivian, are raising hundreds of millions to build robots that can handle tasks drawing human-like dexterity and physical reasoning. The kind of work conventional autonomous can't address. Collaborative robots are spreading beyond car factories. In 2025, 2026, 70% of collaborative robots orders came from non-autonomous sectors. Logistics is a sector to watch, with a projection of 14.2 CAGR through 2029. Like, you already see that in some factories, not factories, Amazon warehouse. They have little robots up the shelf, carry the shelf, and the person just grabs the thing, bag, and wrap the bag. That person's job is in danger. The machines are going to be able to do all of that very soon, and they're not going to be necessary at all. When will factory labor be replaced? The honest answer, it's already happening gradually and will accelerate, but full replacement is further away than the hype suggests. Near term, 2030, robots are estimated to replace around 20 million manufacturing jobs by 2030. Each new robot produced has placed an average of 1.6 manufacturing, and low-skilled regions are the most at risk. Now, that's 4 years away. 20 million manufacturing. And I think when I see them with cameras in India trying to gain data to replace Indian factory work, I think this is happening faster than their timetable. But let's go with their timetable. 2030, displace 20 million manufacturing. Medium term, 2030 to 2040, Forbes estimates 50 to 60% of jobs will be automated or transformed by AI by 2040. So we're looking now at 16 years. It's not removed, that's transformed by AI. I mean, automated or transformed. Goldman Sachs estimates AI could expose up to 300 million full-time jobs automated globally. Quarter to half of those roles workloads being replaceable. So this is Forbes estimate. So they're saying 50 to 60% of jobs will be automated or transformed by AI by 20. Transformed by AI. What do they mean? Like someone uses AI in the job? Or their job is interacting with an AI to accomplish the job? The AI runs the water management, interact with it, get data from it, and sure everything's working correctly, kind of thing. Okay. Goldman Sachs estimates AI could expose up to 30 million full-time jobs to automation globally. Quarter to a half of those roles, workloads be replaceable, so it's 100 million. Key bottleneck, dexterity. Yep, human robots tend to fill labor gaps, still need to achieve human-level dexterity and productivity to complete the traditional automation on cycle times, energy consumption, and maintenance costs. Tasks like fine assembly, handling irregular objects, or working in cramped spaces remains genuinely hard for robots. This is why you see cameras on people's heads as they do tasks. They're trying to teach them to do just this. And at the scale they're doing it, I think they'll have the knowledge to do this very soon. The nuanced reality, rather than a sudden replacement, what's more likely is a gradual transition. I don't buy this. I don't buy this at all. I think we're seeing their gradual transition is going to be over 15 years rather than 50 years. I mean, even they are like, oh yeah, by 2030 to 2040, 50 to 60% of jobs will be affected. Dangerous and repetitive tasks go first. Welding, heavy lifting, hazardous material handling, like anything repetitive, up for very quick replacement. Complex assembly and judgment-based works technology. The judgment-based works, I think, is something that we may never lose to robots. At some point, you want a human in the kill chain so that the robot doesn't pick and kill its own targets. You want the human being like, okay, yes, this is a target, and then giving the robot the okay on the target. And like that's what we're currently seeing with like the Hornets brain, because they become so autonomous, but they still keep the human in the kill chain to look at the target and okay the target. And so that judgment-based work. The issue is when your opponents have equal technology and they don't use human-based verification. Does that become an inhibitor winning? And that's how you can see full automation happen. It's scary. But I think judgment-based work is always going to be important for humanity. A 1% increase in industrial robot density has already been linked to a 0.8 increase in labor productivity. Robots are currently augmenting output more than eliminating workers outright. Well, like that would be great if, say, you have an Amazon factory or an Amazon warehouse, and you have a bunch of robots, and now you can replace the people that usually did the packing. And now robots can do it. You don't need those people. Well, they understand the job. Maybe you still need them to watch over the robot. So now you have a job of people like checking out outputs. And instead of one factory, you build a couple factories. People that were all working in one factory now work in more factories. And so you've increased their productivity drastically by essentially replacing them and moving them to an observer role or a fixer role or some other occupation around the robots themselves. And so it increases in labor productivity. Robots are currently augmenting output more than eliminating workers outright. I mean, you say that, look at manufacturing here in Canada, and it looks like it's destroyed a lot of it. There's a lot less manufacturing jobs than there used to be. New jobs titled like AI trainer, robotic ethics, and human technology integration specialists are expected to emerge. Education systems will need to shift towards creative, critical thinking, emotional, intelligent. Yeah. An issue we are going to have as a society, species, a certain degree of people will not be able to make this. To creativity, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence. If this is what you need for a job, a certain number of people will be made unemployable by AI. What they could do, what they could offer, can now be done by a machine, and they can't create or offer something. And you'll see this in the unemployment rate. So that is an issue that we're going to have to solve. I personally would prefer to solve it through like a UBI or a universal basic. Like the more I think about it, the more a UBI solves all the problems. Like through second and third order effects, it would solve all of the problems. Okay. Traits machines still struggle to replicate for the moment. Bottom line, factory automation is not a future event. It is happening now. The wave will hit repetitive, physical, low-skill manufacturing hardest over the next 10 to 15 years. Full replacement of all factory labor is likely decades away. I would say a decade. It says decades. I think the rate of progress, we'll see it in a decade. If it happens at all, it will. Because human adaptivity, judgment, and dexterity is in unstructured environments remain incredibly hard to replicate cheaply. True. Dexterity, adaptability, judgment, and dexterity in unstructured environments remain incredibly hard to replicate cheaply at scale. That is very true. You just need to structure the environment. And it could be. And you can structure most environments. So it thinks it's likely decades away from fully replacing people in factories. I think, what is it, 2026? a little over a decade, you'll see almost no factory work done by humans in Western society. That would be my prediction.